So we can get called to order at 6:05 p.m. Was there someone who'd be able to take some minutes? Bonnie, maybe you're already taking minutes. Looks like you might be.
Yeah, I can take minutes, no problem.
Okay. Wonderful, thank you. So after that, the first item of business is to select the committee chair for the year ahead. Matt, I believe you were the committee chair last fiscal year. I don't know if you would have interest in continuing on, or if Bonnie or Bill would be interested at all in being chair.
I'll nominate Matt if you'd like to continue, Matt. I think did a great job last year.
Thanks, but yeah, I'm happy to continue, but I'm also just as happy to cede if someone else is interested and would like to, would like to lead. So
I second Matt's nomination. I think it's helpful to have some consistency from the year, and I really feel like this was a efficient and productive committee last year.
good.
So I would hope and expect it would be the same.
And we resurrected it from the ashes, so.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed.
Like a phoenix,
Right.
the Phoenix
Yeah,
Committee.
The Phoenix Committee. Yeah,
There we go.
That's our
There we go.
hashtag.
New name. All right. So Matt has been nominated as the committee chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Since everyone has voted in favor, I will assume that no one is opposed. Matt, you are committee chair.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir.
Appreciate the vote of confidence.
All right. And then that will take us up to our next item, which is minutes from the April meeting of the Technology Committee.
I motion to approve. I had no edits or revisions.
Eric, would you mind flashing them up on the screen?
You got it.
I guess I'm a little surprised. I thought we had a committee meeting post our visits. No.
Isn't that what this is? The April 20th?
Oh, you know what? I'm really adamant in terms of what time of year it is. Yeah. April 26th isn't that long ago. For some reason, sitting here, it felt like months ago.
No, 5 weeks.
I think I wrote these minutes. I did. I second the approval of the minutes.
All right, minutes have been seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, my
Minutes
disclaimer
are
is I
approved.
had COVID in May. And it's just all a blur.
That's understandable.
Hope it'll do that. Okay.
Right.
And then next item that we had up then was taking a look at the goals that had been set for last year, as well as the possible goals for next fiscal year. So the goals that were set for this last fiscal year that just wrapped up, there were 5 of them. The first was to create a standardized form for evaluating the technology use of area libraries and conduct 5 to 7 visits. We had the forms, we did the visits. So that was accomplished and well accomplished. Second goal was to create a technology plan to guide evaluation of new tech opportunities. We didn't get to that. I think in part that is probably one that follows on after the visits. But I just don't think we'd gotten to that yet by the time the year ended.
Yep.
So that I think is one that will that I would recommend keeping on the plate as one of our possible targets and outcomes from following on the tech committee visits. Assist in the evaluation of the Wi-Fi system and recommend type time of replacement to the library board. We've got the funds budgeted this year to do the Wi-Fi project. So that's another one that I look forward to having on the agenda at upcoming meetings. We did the meeting with the CVI that was on July 30th, which I looked up the specific date and it does not feel at all that long ago. Evaluate the digital tutorials. So that was one that Martha and Anna had dug into in terms of looking at the content, and we had made some changes as far as the format and layout, and the determination that Canopy and Overdrive had some pretty nice digital materials that we could direct people to, and that it was far and away more efficient to let them keep that stuff up to date than us trying to keep up with all of the little changes that they sometimes can make in a given year. So we had dug into that a bit. And I think usability definitely improved on that.
I would agree, Eric. I saw the old website and the way that the tutorial videos were listed, and then the new one is just like link and boom, you're there, and it's nicely organized by, you know, whether you have an Apple product or a laptop, more traditional laptop, it is much improved. Nice job by the staff.
Excellent. Yeah, that was Martha with some support from Anna, Martha being web and Anna doing the digital resources. So, yeah. Any questions, comments, thoughts on the goals for the fiscal year that we just finished?
No, not from me.
Not hearing anything. Thanks, Bill. I think we can jump then to the fiscal year goals, looking ahead to this next fiscal year. So I think the one that jumped immediately to mind for me was to continue with our follow-up actions after those after the visits, that we, had sat down, identified our action items that we were going to target, in the time frames and who was going to jump in on those. And then I think the follow through, I think, would be on those will be a good committee goal. And then I think the technology plan and the Wi-Fi system also struck me as ones that we were like coming around to before we ran out of year. And that therefore will probably be ones that will sensibly get wrapped up this year. After I finish this, I did remember that one area that I definitely think that would be potentially goal worthy is that the planning for the wood building annex and the possibility that the library would take over that space. And we very purposefully integrated a lot of technology in the areas that we were looking at in there throughout that main floor space that the museum currently occupies. So I think one good goal then, possible goal to add to those three would be to, evaluate the best resources to make available technology-wise within that space. If you've been in that museum space, they've got a little area off to the side where there's I don't know if it's still there, but there's a drinking fountain in kind of a little cul-de-sac that's under the stairs there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking to turn that into kind of like a technology nook. So I think there's a need there for input and recommendations as to what would be best to include. So I think that would make a good goal.
Right, and Eric, I'll underscore that, because I think, as we've been working with Enberg Anderson on potential expansion into that wood building, you know, we need to come up with a number, and we have to make sure that we understand what technology needs to be in that space to have the right goal, fundraising goal for that possibility.
Yeah.
And Eric, do you know what their Wi-Fi situations in there? I mean, do they have an okay system, adequate or very poor, or no computer system on their side?
They've got a computer network over there. They've got a Wi-Fi signal. Up until I had got my own wireless access point in my office, their signal actually was usually much stronger in my office than the library one was. I just didn't have their password. But I would imagine that we would need to expand the library's Wi-Fi system into that space. I don't know that there would be. Yeah. The coverage seems to be fine. It's a big open area, you know, and usually that kind of space works well for, you know, fairly small number of access points. There's not a lot of walls to get in the way over there, so I would guess they probably got just one wireless access point over there, and probably two at the most.
Okay.
But I don't know what kind of system that they've got. But
Got it.
in working with CVI when we've needed to add new access points around the building, it's not been that difficult. They have kind of a boneyard of equipment that they have to hand, and since we're rarely running the highest, most newest stuff, usually what we have is the advantage that CVI has already swapped out other libraries like Cook Memorial or Lake Forest, you know, who tend to be more onto the cutting edge of things. And then if we need to add more points, then it's pretty cheap and easy for them to just grab one of the old ones that they've already pulled from somewhere else and add a few more for us. So that's never been too much of a challenge. They pretty much just, when I asked about one in my office, they basically just said, "No, I'm out next Wednesday. Why don't I just grab one and drop it off for you?" So that shouldn't be too much of a challenge, in short, to get that going. The system overall, we are probably getting up to a point where we want to start taking a look into that, taking a look into what that next version of the system is going to be. The wireless system and hardware that we're running was first put into place 5 or 6 years ago now, which in terms of a wireless network is starting to get up there. We could probably keep rolling with it for a while, but I would say what we found over the last 2 years is that you know, we had a big spike in usage of it, staff usage and public usage, and I think that's making the system age more quickly than it would have otherwise, because it's being used a lot more heavily than the trajectory indicated was likely to be happening at this stage when it was originally installed.
Okay.
I'm excited about Wi-Fi improvements. Okay. So we've got, I think, 4 pretty solid goals. Any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions for other goals, questions about possible ones that I jotted down? Bonnie, were you leaning in?
Yeah, Eric, just a suggestion to the whole team here, which is goal number 2. I think maybe just adding a phrase that says, based on patron survey or community survey, whatever we call it, because I think that's going to be a useful, some fertile ground for suggestions of what the community wants from technology.
We could say with input from the community survey and library technology surveys. Does that sound?
What do you mean by the second part? And library technology surveys, are there separate surveys specifically on?
No, I mean the
That'll be
visits,
just our surveys, our visits.
our survey visits.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Just adding that into the Word doc here.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's a good point, Bonnie. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other items?
Because I think goal number 2 is going to limit some of the developments that we want to sort of include. So I see that. I see a lot of activity coming out of that one.
Yeah.
That we don't know yet, or where the priorities are going to go.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Okay. So then it looks like we've got our goals then, and we can always circle back and adjust those throughout the fiscal year if we so desire to do so. So I don't have as much on the next bit as I kind of was hoping that I would for this meeting, which is circling back around to the that rubric. Over the last month, with being in our busiest time of the year, as well as with Martha being on leave, I know that a lot of the staff that had jumped in on various of these points have been pretty swamped over the last month since we last met. So I don't have too many updates, but I do have a couple. One, I'm happy to report that we being Jillian put together the proposal for the Wi-Fi hotspots, and that was taken to the Friends and was approved. So they've agreed to support that, and Jillian is working on getting that order placed so that we can get that going. Jillian is also pretty excited about that because having the Wi-Fi hotspots available in-house will be useful for outreach programming as well. That we can always, just check one out for a program and take that with us, rather than some of the workarounds that we've done to this point. Sometimes depending on the outreach, will be somewhere that's got a nice strong Wi-Fi signal, such as Bernie's Book Bank. Nice Wi-Fi at Bernie's. But if we're out with the book bike for the farmers market, not as much. It's not the Village Green is not noted for its numerous wireless access points. I keep working on Glenn on that, but no dice so far. So that was the main one. A couple of the others here, the RFID tags, and looking at the staffing situation are things that we're really still just working on the information gathering phase of things as to what it would look like to implement. Matt, I know you'd picked up a couple of these. Did you have anything to report on Roku's or automated passport info?
I do not have any updates for these.
Okay. Yeah, it's that end of April is actually a lot closer, I think, than it feels to me at the moment. It's been a busy month with in my family's case, a whole lot of COVID in the middle there too. So okay. My recommendation with the rubric here is I think that what we're going to want to do is try and aim for a technology committee meeting towards the end of summer, say late June, late July, roundabout, maybe early August, when things are winding down programming wise at the library. And then that'll be a good opportunity, good time for us to get together and, refocus on the task items that we set out for ourselves.
Okay.
I think that would be the good time to do that. There'll probably be a few here that as the summer wears on that Jillian and others will probably put some time in on, but summer's nuts, yo. This summer in particular, we've got construction happening in the building, which is they're putting up the drywall and the electric today, so that was been a lot of pounding. And then they're doing the road work outside the building. We're at a corner with no streets right now, which is interesting. So we're not at the intersection of Oak and Scranton. We're at the intersection of where those streets were
Have no
before they
name.
scraped them up.
They have no name.
Yeah.
The flower beds look good though, the herb garden and
Yes.
they look very nice, very professional.
No, Jillian and Eliza have done a really nice job with that.
Yeah.
So the treatment for the seedlings there has been verging on royal. So I could aim for worse than to be reincarnated as one of those tomato plants. All right. So that's really all I had in terms of updates on the technology items. Does anyone have any other points related to the items, to the goals or the rubric, or to anything else? Bill, did you have?
I didn't have anything else.
I thought maybe you were jumping in there, but I think that was just a car sound.
No,
as it turned out. So
yeah.
Hey, a question for our next meeting. Would it be possible to have someone not invest a ton of time, because it's more form than it is function, I guess. Just clean this up a little bit, remove some of the columns that we don't need any longer, just make it a little easier to read, maybe by sorting by first priority and then timeline or something like that. I find it hard to quickly reorient.
where's my hide option here?
Middle of the first drop down.
Oh, there we go. I think those were the two that jumped out at me immediately. Is
Maybe sort by priority.
Maybe which one?
By priority, E.
The priority one, E? That.
No, I was saying sort by that. I'm sorry, Eric.
Oh, sort by that.
Yeah.
I like these little buttons where you can just unhide things. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that'll work because it's high, medium, low. High would be first, medium would be second.
You're right.
Always the Control Z.
It's gonna,
No, it's going to go high, low, medium.
oh, yeah, 8, high, low, medium. That's okay. That's all right.
Well, even
Okay.
that's easier, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that worked. I can sift that around to move things around, move a couple of the rows around. That's not a problem. Spreadsheets are good for that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, then
Other-
while you're doing that, I will motion to adjourn, assuming there are no other new items. Maybe there are new items though.
Nothing on my end.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
6:32.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. Good efficient meeting, folks.
All right.
Good.
Thank you, everyone.